Hello again. This is Iad from Canonical. As a reward for good behavior, James and Sam are allowing me to do another mini review episode. These mini reviews take a short look at the kinds of new and interesting novels that James and Sam hate to read. Don't worry, our regular episodes will continue as normal on Fridays. Today's review is for Benjamin Labatut's When We Cease to Understand the World, a nonfiction novel that very conspicuously and deliberately blends fact and fiction in its account of the science of the 20th century. Physics has often captivated the imaginations of artists, but this novel is less concerned with scientific ideas themselves and more concerned with the process of inspiration and the way science has obliquely impacted the contemporary mind. The novel moves from shorter, essay like pieces about chemists, mathematicians, and physicists before moving on to the more conspicuously fictional pieces, taking the form of short stories, the longest of which concerns Erwin Schrödinger and Werner Heisenberg's competing ideas about the nature of subatomic particles. Don't worry if your quantum mechanics are rusty. The drama of the novel isn't the speed and position of an electron, but in the strange and often mystical ways these fundamental ideas are revealed to the human mind. As in one scene where Heisenberg is feverishly creating the matrices he used to understand the behavior of electrons. Labatut writes, he felt his brain split in two. Each hemisphere worked on its own without needing to communicate with the other, and as a result, his matrices violated all the rules of ordinary algebra and obeyed the logic of dreams. In these scenes, Labatut's novel offers the reader another chance to live in an enchanted world. We do live in a rational, predictable world, but at these fundamental levels, it seems there is always a transcendent beyond, a place that even the greatest minds of our times can only reach in moments of madness or mystical intensity. The novel's unconventional structure and its blend of fiction and nonfiction have baffled some readers, but a strong case can be made for the text to be seen as a document of how, just like the quantum world can be understood as both waves and particles, scientific developments can represent progress and destruction simultaneously. Labatut shows us how the same progress that brought us the nitrogen fertilizer that fed the world also brought us the Zyklon B used in the Nazi concentration camps. And our understanding of the atom also brought us the Manhattan Project and the prospect of nuclear apocalypse. I think a complementary and even more compelling reading emerges through how the crises science brought to the modern mind are shown to us in a text that reads in many places like straight nonfiction, but reveals its artifice to us in other places. We know that there are embellishments here, parts that aren't completely true, and parts whose truth we are aware we could never have known. But the novel is presented to us with what we might call the texture of truth, truthiness, if you will. And it is the experience of this very contemporary kind of skepticism that we have when we read this novel, a kind of postmodern intellectual crisis that Labatut has layered on top of his account of a modern crisis that I see as the real masterstroke of this novel. And here I will pause my discussion of Benjamin Labatut's When We Cease to Understand the World, an idiosyncratic novel whose investigation of the scientific progress of the 20th century amounts to what I would consider a genealogy of the contemporary mind. As always, if you have any comments about this novel, quantum mechanics, or anything else, please comment on Reddit at our canonical pod. And of course, we are on all of the other social media as well, also as Canonical Pod. Till next time, happy reading. We will talk to you soon.